We will now enjoy the class reflections by Eric Klain, and following that, the slideshow presentation for the weekend nursing class of 2018.
All right. Good evening, friends, family, distinguished guests, and those of you watching from home. Thank you for being here and being part of this celebration, this culmination of one of the hardest journeys that we as individuals and as a group have been through these past couple of years. Cue the music. Take a second and try to remember what you were thinking about the person you were here to see on this glorious night, and how many times you questioned what they were doing, what they had to complain about, or the magnitude of the work that was expected and required of them, and understand that you are here because you were part of that journey and this moment, this culmination and this celebration of that journey. This is what it was for, and we as a class want to say thank you. Thank you for the push. Thank you for the shoulder to cry on. Thank you for the encouragement that there was light at the end of the tunnel, because we have reached that light, and it has been one heck of a journey. That light at the end of this tunnel was a spark, better yet a flicker, for us a few years back. And we have since started that fire and stoked it and kept it going to be where we are today in this very auditorium. The flicker started for some of us with the first letter of acceptance into nursing school, and for some of us, it was a reacceptance letter that came when we thought all hope was lost. It starts with a math test that required a grade of 100 without a calculator. And this was math that had both letters and numbers. We come from all different walks of life, where some of us have never felt a North Country winter, taken a blood pressure, or knew anything about the nursing process, and we were deemed novice on the scale of being a student. As we progressed out of that stage, we worked our way up through the critical element testing. We are tested on the areas of focus that we will be presented with, and it was one of our first experiences with discomfort and unease in nursing school. Well, we made it through that, and we started to slowly work our way onto the floor at the Samaritan Keep Home, where we started to experience patient care for the first time for some of us. As we transitioned from each area of the hospital to the next, it was with a whole new set of paperwork, a whole new level of assignments and responsibilities, and a whole new level of believing what the human body and mind can handle after each milestone we passed as students. Stress is the sixth vital sign. Just ask any of us on the morning of clinical. As family members stood by and watched us stay up most of the night as we prioritized what is the most important for our patients, we found ourselves in a dark classroom next with someone telling us to envision the beach or smell the flowers and blow out the candles. Welcome to maternity, where our nursing instructor said to us she did things a little different, and I confirmed that she truly does. And we got to experience maternity, and we learned from it. And after that, for some of us in this group, this is where this group came together. But for some of us, it was one of our last milestones for the time being. Ask any nurse who went through the JCC nursing program about the third semester. And then listen to them carefully for tips and pointers on how they were able to get through it successfully, because that's what we do as a family. Some of this group started that third semester of nursing school and were unsuccessful and thought it was the end of the journey or the end of the road, but it wasn't. While we started that third semester, some of us had the pleasure of adding pharmacology course to our already full plate. But hey, that's nursing. This group all came together at that time, and it was a challenge. Some of us had friends who were graduating. Some of us had already had our former classmates graduate, and here we were back in the classroom all over again with a new group, primed and nervous to do it all over again. Now, being the only male in this class has its benefits. For example, there's never a line at the restroom. And that's where that list ends for me. I had the privilege of being able to watch this class grow for the past year, and I've watched us grow just a hair closer than we were that first weekend when we started. And that is progress. If you were there, that's progress. So back to the journey, back to the med-surg floor, and 2 patients, long nights, early mornings, and another loop on the emotional roller coaster of nursing school. And after we got off that ride, we got on the next roller coaster, which was psych, where we not only dealt with our own emotions and feelings, we got to deal with our patients as well. We learned how to do psych role play and take long van and car rides up to Ogdensburg for the inaugural class to attend some clinicals at St. Lawrence Psychiatric Center. We made it through psych at both St. Lawrence and Samaritan. And on a positive note and somewhat surprising note, at least from my seat, they let us all leave. And while we did have a lot of fear at the beginning of psych, we all left with a positive feeling. Excuse me, somebody's calling. We all left with a positive feeling and gained knowledge of its importance in the nursing process, and I believe we are all better for that. We got our new calendars upon completion of psych, and while it may have seemed distant, this very date, our pinning was in it, and that flicker was a little bit brighter, but it was still going, and we were still stoking it as best we could. Now that we all knew about feelings, it was time for the final chapter in this journey. We spent more hours in the van, and this time it was on our journey south to Upstate Medical Center for our rotation in pediatrics and the introduction to a new facility, new people, new personalities, and most importantly, new experiences. We learned the importance and difference of nursing in the community with our clinical experiences outside of the hospital, and while we all gained more knowledge and experience, we remained teachable. So when we started this journey a couple years ago, they told us by the end of this we would be one big happy family, and I can stand up here and tell you that we are. We are one big, happy, dysfunctional family. We have our own little tribes and our siblings that we hang out with and we gravitate towards, and that's a given with such a collection of unique people. We tried to mesh and we tried to coexist, and at times it was tested, but we as a group, we persevered and we survived. Tecumseh was a Shawnee Indian warrior and a chief who organized and tried to get all the local tribes to combine their strength and unite as one with one common goal. The common goal in mind was unity amongst the tribes with the greater good as the big picture. So all 21 of us from our own little tribes, both now and previously, have come together and reached that goal and reached that pinnacle, which was merely a spark at the beginning of this journey, and it ends with us holding that flame that we fought for as a group and as individuals, with our tribe and without. From rehabilitation and med-surg to feelings and psych, from childbirth and maternity to the end-of-life care at the Keep Home, from SLPC to Upstate, wherever this journey started for you, tonight is the culmination of all that work. All the tears, all the coffee, all the donuts, all the early mornings, all the late nights, all the selfies, all the waiting for Eric, all the attempts to quiet Liz down, all of the test anxiety coupled with all the quiz anxiety. And when it comes to your emotions about this journey, feel free to select all that apply. Tecumseh had a vision of unity amongst the tribes, and tonight, as we bring a close to this journey, we are forever united as having completed this roller coaster, this mission, this journey, and this adventure together as one. So to all my classmates and to all of you in attendance here tonight, he also said this, and this is one of my favorite quotes. He said, "So live your life that the fear of death can never enter your heart. Trouble no one about their religion. Respect others in their view, and demand that they respect yours. Love your life, perfect your life, beautify all things in your life. Seek to make your life long as its purpose in the service of your people. Prepare a noble death song for the day when you go over the great divide. Always give a word or a sign of salute when meeting or passing a friend or a stranger when in a lonely place. Show respect to all people and grovel to none. When you arise in the morning, give thanks for the food and for the joy of living. If you see no reason for giving thanks, the fault lies only in yourself. Abuse no one and no thing, for abuse turns the wise ones to fools and robs the spirit of vision. When it comes your time to die, be not like those whose hearts are filled with fear of death, so that when their time comes, they weep and pray for a little more time to live their lives over again in a different way. Sing your death song and die like a hero going home. I'd like to thank you all for being a part of this journey with us and for being with us here tonight and throughout this entire journey. Thank you.